Here's my top 10 bird cards for the Wingspan European expansion. Number 10, Common Cuckoo. This pink-powered egg layer is a bird of a different feather than the ones introduced in the Wingspan core set. It can lay eggs on both cup nests and ground nests. As always, star nests are valid targets too. This adds much more versatility and opportunity in which to use this bird's power. Its 2 invertebrate cost makes it a little slow out of the gate in the early game, but the payoff is often worth it, especially if your opponent is showing some grasslands development. The added flexibility of living in the forest or the grasslands is always welcome. Number 9, Common Nightingale. Cut from the same cloth as the core set hummingbirds, Common Nightingale is an amazing early game food accelerator. Its cheap and flexible food costs combined with its versatile habitat placement make it a great option for grassland and wetland focused engines that look to minimize their forest investment. A 3-point value combined with a 4-egg nest is just added value to a great power. The real drawback associated with this bird is that it will also give the selected food type to all your opponents as well, so using this bird's power is a lesson in risk versus reward. Number 8, Common Chiffchaff. This incredible mass tucking bird is hit or miss depending on what type of food and egg support you can give it in the wetlands. Birds that can draw multiple cards also make great companions for Common Chiffchaff and its ravenous power. If you're able to give this bird the proper support in the wetlands, it can become a monstrous point-scoring engine that can run away with the game. There will also be niche moments where you might have a surplus of cards in your hand while also having a well-developed forest engine. Playing Common Chiffchaff into your forest is a great way to convert excess cards into points in the mid to late game while also generating food and possibly more points through caching effects from your other birds. Like Common Nightingale, this bird is cheap and flexible with a respectable point value and nest size for its cost of a single food. Number 7, Mute Swan. Mute Swan is similar to Common Chiffchaff in that it lets you convert a large volume of cards into points. At 3 times the food cost, it can be harder to get this bird down and properly supported before it can take flight. On the plus side, it reimburses one of the cards you tuck by letting you draw 1 new card. This feature, along with tucking 2 less cards, allows it to pair much more effectively with birds that repeat powers, as you will end up burning through your hand at a much slower rate. Number 6, Black-headed Gull. This infamous gull is a great way to produce food for your wetland engine while also harassing your opponent at the same time. This stealing power is the closest thing we get to direct attacks against opponents in Wingspan, and I hope it stays that way, quite frankly. Black-headed gull is an anomaly among the birds with stealing powers. The food you steal goes to your personal supply for future use, instead of being cached on the gull. All of the other stealing birds must cache the stolen food. Black-headed gull can be so effective at harassing players and producing food that some players in the tournament community have suggested that it should be house ruled along with the Power 4. This would prevent it from being played before the start of round 2 in competitive play. Number 5, Audouin's Gull. Another powerful gull makes the list. Audouin's Gull allows you to draw 2 cards from the deck, keep 1, and tuck 1. This is a great way to see more cards in the early game and score more points on top of it. In some ways, Audouin's Gull could be considered an evolution of birds such as Ruddy Duck from the core set. Instead of discarding 1 card, you get to score a point instead. The real drawback of Audouin's Gull in this comparison is that it cannot draw cards from the tray, so anything good there will have to be picked up before you activate this power. Number 4, Snow Bunting. This pink-powered bird is a great way to flat-out shut down the point-scoring potential of an opposing predator bird. Any point-scoring or card-drawing effect of an opposing tuck-draw bird, such as a barn swallow, will essentially be a net wash for an opponent that employs them, as Snow Bunting will give you the same effect. Just make sure to have a card in hand in order to take advantage of this effect. Number 3, Ruff. In the early days of the European expansion, I underestimated not only this bird's ability to passively score points, but also its ability to passively cycle large volumes of cards. Card cycling is one of the most powerful effects in Wingspan, and this makes Ruff one of the most powerful birds in the game. I think it is currently the strongest teal power in the game. If utilized to its maximum effect, Ruff could be worth up to 14 points by the end of the game, counting its 2 feather points, and it will let you look at up to 9 extra cards by the start of round 4. Ruff is easy to play, and as long as you keep 3 cards in hand, you'll be seeing more options and scoring more points just by having this bird on your board. I can't understate how great this card can be. Number 2, White Stork. White stork is another bird that flew under my radar for a while. With its expensive food cost of 3 food and its small nest of 2 eggs, it can be hard to utilize this bird effectively in the early game. However, if you support it properly with a companion bird with a larger nest, white stork will allow you to draw cards while laying eggs effectively, and we have to look no further than Franklin's Gull and Killdeer to understand how powerful that effect is. The fact that white stork is an 8-point bomb on top of its ability to draw cards from the grassland is truly mind-blowing. It's so effective that some vocal players in the tournament community have called for this bird to be house ruled along with the Power 4. Number 1. Benelli's Eagle and Eastern Imperial Eagle. These big eagles are so similar I decided it would be a tie on this list because in many ways they are equally powerful. Benelli's Eagle is objectively the better bird since it can be played in any habitat, and it hits the board scoring 1 more feather point. But Eastern Imperial Eagle is no slouch either. It may be restricted to the grasslands and score 1 less point, but its nest can hold 1 more egg than Benelli's Eagle. I covered these 2 birds at length in my video with the overwhelming power of Benelli's Eagle and Eastern Imperial Eagle, so I won't repeat too much of that here. The fact of the matter is you always want to see both of these birds before your game ends, no matter what type of engine you've built. Conversely, you never want your opponents to see these cards. That's how powerful they are, and that's why they're number 1 on this list.